Are you ready to step away from the urban grind and create a life rooted in nature? If you're dreaming of buying land and building your own home, you might feel overwhelmed. Rising prices, confusing regulations, and knowing if the property will truly support your long-term vision. In this video, I'll break down why land is one of the most important investments you can make today, how to finance the build, and the key things to look out for when evaluating land for off-grid living. Ultimately, so that you can move forward with confidence and avoid costly mistakes. I've gone through the process of buying raw land, and the challenges were real. But after building a small home for myself from the ground up, I know from experience that the rewards are absolutely worth it. Learning through trial and error works, but knowing what to look out for up front can save you a ton of time, money, and headaches. So consider this your chance to steal my homework. Before we dive into how to make your dream a reality on a piece of land, I actually put together a free resource for you. It's called the Land Legacy Checklist. It's designed to help you find the right property, one that gives you freedom, room to grow, and the foundation to really expand your vision. So you can grab a copy of that in the link in the description below. So why raw land? Well, land value is actually on the rise, and not just by a little. Over the last 5 years, the value of land in the US has grown by 8%. From 17.2 trillion to 18.6 trillion. That is actually faster than standard inflation. And here's the thing about land. They're not making any more of it. So as our population grows, the demand for housing continues to outpace supply. More and more people are searching for freedom, autonomy, and a lifestyle rooted in nature, something far removed from the stress of urban living. And to make things worse, homes on the market today are really poorly designed. They're oriented to face the street instead of the sun, which makes for higher energy bills and missed opportunities for natural comfort. They're filled with materials that require constant upkeep, leaving you with more headaches than harmony living in your home. That's not the kind of investment that will sustain you or your family for generations. That's why buying raw land and building your own home from the ground up puts you in a uniquely powerful position. It allows you to design a home that aligns with your values, optimized for efficiency and resilience, and create space for expansion, whether that's a family retreat, guest cabins, gardens, or even income generating projects. It's not just a property, it's a foundation for your legacy. I share this because I've been through it myself. Through those experiences, I've learned that before you even open up Zillow or Redfin or any other land listing, you need to get clear on two things: your finances and your location. These two factors alone will make or break your success in finding the land that truly supports your vision. Let's first talk about co-ownership, because this is where a lot of people begin. Buying land on your own can feel really overwhelming. Questions quickly come up like, how will I manage it all by myself? Will I feel isolated? Will I go into more debt than I can actually handle? And that's why many people choose to partner with others on the land stewardship journey. And for good reason. It's not an easy path to walk alone. Sharing the responsibility with one or two trusted individuals can make the purchase more affordable and sustainable in the long run. But here's the thing. Agreements are everything. Before you sign anything, work together to create an internal, written, signed, and printed agreement that outlines the roles, the responsibilities, and the expectations, not just for today, but for 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the future. So without that, the dream can quickly turn into conflict. From my own experience, 2 to 3 owners is the sweet spot. Any more than that, and things just start to get messy. Either you're going to sacrifice your own needs or someone else's will get shortchanged. Be intentional and strategic about how you structure co-ownership. That That said, partnership isn't the only path. There are other creative ways to make land ownership financially viable. You can consider things like long-term rentals, having value-added agricultural products, hosting workshops, retreats, or events. If your vision involves more people on the land, you can consider things like a subdivision, so where you can purchase the entire parcel and then legally split and sell off lots to trusted friends or neighbors. This does require upfront capital and patience because subdividing can be costly. There are fees with utilities, surveys, permitting. So just make sure that you're actually ready for that. In some areas and parts of the world, you can do condominium style zoning, which basically means instead of dividing the property lines, you give shared ownership to multiple people on one lot. This process is often easier than subdividing, but still provides people with autonomy. You can also consider lease to own agreements. This is a good option if you want to bring in folks who don't have the immediate cash. So you'll need to have enough reserves though to float the initial costs until the lease converts to ownership. Again, just make sure that you're ready for that. And then there's the whole world of intentional communities. And I've had my own unique experiences with these, which were not the best. But that's why I recommend 2 to 3 partners max. However, that is not to say intentional communities, eco-villages, community land trusts can't be a viable solution. They absolutely have been done. I'm just not the expert with it. So if you're looking to be part of a community, Cynthia with Community Finders is your girl. She can help you find and set up one on your own. So I'll drop a link below to contact her if this is something that you're looking to do. Okay, so what's the big picture here? Giving your neighbors real ownership and autonomy fosters deeper commitment, better land stewardship, and a stronger community. It transforms your land from just a property into a long-term legacy shared with people who care as much as you do and are invested. If you're thinking about buying land, do not go blind. The Legacy Land Checklist is a free resource that can help you spot the right property from the very beginning. It goes far deeper than what I cover here, so grab your copy in the link in the description below. Okay, next up is finances. So figuring out what you can actually afford with raw land can feel tricky sometimes. There are so many unknowns, but there are a few simple steps that will give you fast clarity. Step number 1 is just to go get some pre-approvals. So you can go visit some local banks and get a pre-approval and make sure to get a soft credit pull if you can. So do that for a conventional home mortgage and then do the same for a land loan. So banks that provide loans on land. And in the US, the Farm Credit Program is a super great option. So do check that out. Step number 2 is to run the numbers. So what you're gonna wanna do is to take your all-in cost, your total cost that you have been pre-approved by your bank. So take the average of those, and then you're gonna subtract the land purchase price or your budgeted purchase price, and then the development costs, things like the well, the septic, and the solar. And those are typically like, or sometimes can run up to 100,000. And then essentially the number that you're left with is your build budget. So from here, once you know how much you have to build with, then you can start talking to local contractors and see what size home you can realistically build with that amount. So basically you're asking them what their cost per square foot is to build. And then ask yourself, does this size home work for me, or do I need to adjust my land budget? So I used to believe that finding the perfect piece of land came first before the house. So my partner and I once paid a premium for a beautiful property, only to realize we had almost nothing left to build with. Just enough for a tiny cabin in the end. And that was also because the development costs were so high in this particular region. So we ended up selling it and looking for land that gave us more room to build the home that we actually needed. Remember, a true legacy property doesn't need to have every feature: rivers, ponds, rolling hills, epic views. It's what you build and how you stored it that really creates the lasting value. So here's a couple of quick saving strategies, because sometimes this does take a bit of saving. So you're gonna need liquid cash for down payments on loans. So you can get loans for the land and construction, but you're still gonna need cash up front for the land and the development costs, like the water, the waste, the power, etc. If you're not ready to buy yet, you need to start saving. Basically, just decide what percent of income you can set aside each month, automate that transfer into a separate account you don't check often. You can open up a new bank account if you need, so it's completely out of sight. And then run the math. How many years is it gonna take? Do you need to adjust your monthly allocation? So hopefully that helps with some saving. Okay, what about you? Have you found creative ways to finance or purchase raw land? I would love to hear from you, so drop your ideas in the comments below. I'd love to hear what's worked for you. Location. So they say it's all about location, location, location. And whoever they are, they're absolutely right. When it comes to raw land, finding the right location is more of an art than a science. Some people cast a wide search radius, while others keep it a lot tighter. But either way, narrowing down the right spot takes thoughtful consideration. Let's first talk about community and culture. So even if you're not really a community person, whatever that is, the surrounding culture really does matter. What kind of energy do you want around your long-term home? Every place has its charm, but not every place is the right fit for you. So you'll want to explore local forums or community bulletin boards, attend town events, farmers markets, cultural gatherings, and then pay attention to how people interact. And ask yourself, do you feel at home there? Family is also another key factor when choosing location. If you value being close to parents, siblings, nieces, and nephews, choosing a location within a reasonable distance can make a huge difference over the long term. From my experience, when I built my first home, I found a thriving small community that shared my values, but being in a completely different time zone and a 12-hour flight away from my family just wasn't suitable for the long term. So that realization did shift my priorities and had me start over. Okay, access and amenities. A great location strikes a balance between peace and connection. Not too isolated, but not swallowed by the hustle and bustle either. So you're gonna want to consider things like proximity to groceries, schools, emergency services, and events. Seasonal road conditions as well should be considered, things like mud, snow, flooding, etc. So ask yourself, who maintains these roads? Is it the county? Is it the HOA? Or is it you? You'll also want to consider your driveway. And so this has to do with the property slope. Ask yourself, can you build a driveway to your site in a safe and affordable way? A lot of times these require a gradual slope. Okay, legalities and zoning. This part often gets overlooked, but it's critical. So you want to know the rules before you fall in love with the land. You want to check zoning and land use regulations with the local county or jurisdiction. So give them a quick call. Can you build a homestead, add outbuildings, or develop multiple structures? If that's something you want to do, ask those questions. And then, how responsive and friendly are the county staff? This alone will tell you a lot. And then actually read the planning codes carefully. If following these rules fills you with anxiety or frustration, it's probably not the right fit. I've built, and in some cases tried to build, in really strict counties. While working through loopholes can spark some creativity, it also puts hard limits on your long-term vision. So you have to decide up front how much freedom you want and then plan accordingly. Finally, make sure that you have the right realtor on your side, because raw land is a whole different animal than selling houses or even town lots. Don't settle for someone who only deals with traditional home sales. You want to find a realtor who understands raw land, off-grid living, and all the unique considerations that come with that. Also, don't rely on the realtor to do the work for you. It's really up to you to put in the time and do your due diligence. Once you've locked in your location and found some promising properties, the next step is the site analysis. This is where you're looking at things like the sun and the shade paths, the soils, the topography, the hydrology, and so much more. To learn how to evaluate these in more detail, you can check out this video here so you can make sure the land you choose is truly right for your legacy property. If this video got you inspired, drop a comment below and let me know what stood out to you the most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.